Alrighty, and we're back with another episode, Karma's Crew Podcast. Myself, Jared Sullinger, and Kraft, Adam Jardy. Welcome everybody to another episode. Sad day for our Buckeyes. They keep tripping. But first of all, thank everybody over at New Amendment for making this possible, and keep coming back with more and more of hopefully some better news as time goes on with these episodes. But talk about our Buckeyes, man. They letting us down this week. It was a rough one, man. So we're going to get right into the X's and O's. I mean, I'm going to give this one to Adam. You know, you were there live watching the game. So we're going to start off with the Minnesota game, which we said last week was a must win, and we just came out flat. Like, literally, what was going on, my man? Tell me, how was it?
That was rough because you went into that game like we said, you felt like that was a must win. You're coming home, you're playing a winless Minnesota team in the Big Ten, and that's a get right type of game. And they were just off from the jump. I went back and actually rewatched a good portion of the game because it was like an all access thing where they had microphones with the coaches in the locker rooms. I think that made it. Yeah. I think honestly that had an impact. I feel like that tightened up a young team. I think that I don't. It's not an excuse. You got to play through, whatever's thrown in front of you. But I felt like that had an impact on how Ohio State played, on how Ohio State coached that game. And you could feel that in the arena. Like there was never a whole lot of buzz inside Value City Arena. And we can make all the jokes about there not being a buzz in Value City Arena a lot of times, but it was off in that game. And they never really seemed to get their arms around it. I thought it was a credit to both Holtman and Isaac Likely after the game, who said, like, we didn't, even if they'd have called that block at the end correctly, we didn't deserve to win. Like, we did not play well enough to win. And I give them credit for saying that because
they definitely,
like Holtman said, it would have been a disservice given how they played if they would have won that game.
Yeah, I think, talk about the energy in the arena. I think going from where they went from the Purdue game, right? Like you're really high, everything's great. And then if you're a younger team, you're kind of hoping for that energy again. Like you got that itch and you got that feel, and then you come back and, as you said, it's not always like that. It takes a special game. It takes a special team that we're playing against or special circumstances like Sully getting spit on, for guys to come out and just be crazy in the shot. So I think that, a younger team that is a little slow probably will hope and wish they had a little bit more energy in the crowd. And like you said, just never had it. And I don't care if we don't deserve to win at all. I'd take the win in a heartbeat. So
I agree, Kraft. I just think as we go forward, you're starting to see how we play to our level of competition. We really didn't come out playing strong. I mean, if you look at the stats, Garcia had 28. He was scoring every which way.
Career nights.
Yeah, he was scoring every which way. And to be honest with you, we struggle with guys like Garcia, who score inside and out. He's he was a matchup problem. We threw a little bit of everybody's. I think Zeb was guarding him at one point. Eugene guarded him. He started attacking Eugene in the paint, and then we put Justice on him. But I mean, we're playing down to our competition. To be frank with you, and then on the other side of the basketball, you see Bryce kind of forcing things at this point, knowing that he's the go-to guy. And there's times where he gets antsy. He doesn't take a shot in 2 or 3 or 4 possessions. Now he's sitting here doing a back down one on 5. Yeah. And I just think we got to go back to our offense where it's just flowing. It's going left. It's going right. It's everybody's cutting. We throw it down to Zed a little bit more. We just need more offensive continuity, I think, going forward.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I'm glad you said that because that's perfect. I mean, we can't finish a Big Ten game with 5 assists. It's literally like, all right, you take a shot, you take a shot, you take a shot, and you guys talked about the all access. You can hear like coach saying, "Push it, run, cut, move the ball, side to side." And I think that's what's going to be key for us. I mean, our offense is already, top 5, which is crazy, right? I'm not sure what happened this week, but the more you get closeout situations, the more you swing it side to side, the better and easier looks you're going to get because the defense is going to mess up. That's the hardest thing in basketball is to defend closeouts. And I think we got the guys to do it. We just got to find a rhythm and flow that we definitely didn't have this week.
One of the numbers that really surprised me, I was writing something for the Dispatch about what has gone wrong in this 3-game losing streak. So now I guess I need to update it maybe. But one of the things that really surprised me was that in the last 2 games, the Maryland game, the Minnesota game, Bryce and Justice took 52.1% of the team shots. And leading into the Maryland game, they had taken 36% of the team shots. So it felt like the offense was just like shrinking. And it was like those guys were basically playing a lot of one-on-one, a lot of ISO ball, which leads to, the no assists and things like that. It just felt like they were making themselves too easy to be guarded, which was surprising for a team that is so tough offensively that it seemed like it very quickly just kind of boiled down to just 2 guys. And I don't think you can win with just those 2 guys taking that many shots.
That's tough.
That's an unbelievable stat, man.
Yeah, it's a great stat, Adam, to be exact. That's tremendous. Good homework.
Wow. That's
but
crazy.
when you see that was almost jumped 20% of the shots taken from previous games, that's incredible, because you look at the game, you see you watch the game, and we understand that there's times where we're going to go one-on-one. Honestly, there's going to be times where you got to give the ball to the guys, but right now I just feel like everything is one-on-one. Even sometimes Sean's shots are one-on-one, where he's jab stepping, getting to his pull-up, which he always gets to. But I just think, this is where Bruce has to be a little bit more assertive of getting the ball, creating for people more, and just putting people in their places. And to the fact that you said the all access thing, Adam and Dave, I thought watching that huddle, how calm Coach Holtman was, going through the struggles of our scoring problems or our defensive problems. I just thought that was a great sign of being a great coach, just because you got a young team. Sometimes you get riled up with a young team, they kind of get riled up with you and try to be, perfect. He just kind of kept them calm, and they gave us a chance in the Minnesota game. It really gave us a chance with his demeanor and how he was on the sideline. But that all access stuff, sometimes it's tough to coach, because now you're calling out your plays and coaches are hearing it. So if you want to go back and scout Ohio State, you go back to the game against Minnesota where you can get the play calls actually. And I think that was the toughest part, being a coach in that situation.
Aaron, because Sully just mentioned Bruce and him needing to do a couple more things maybe, it seems like to me he's hit a wall. And we all, I know it's one of the more cliched things in sports, right? To talk about the freshman wall and all of that. So I don't exactly know how much to make of that, but like I was just before we got started, I was looking at during this 4-game losing streak, he's got 6 assists and 6 turnovers, and his minutes I feel like have dipped a little bit. I haven't had time to dive into it too deeply. I need to do that in the next day or two. But what are you seeing from him right now, as far as a guy who I felt like for the first 10 games, like, man, this dude, he's got it figured out already. Like, he's so well advanced beyond his age. Is he coming back to reality a little bit? Is he still like, what do you see from him right now as he tries to navigate this?
Yeah, I think he's just in a really tough situation, right? I think what we're kind of asking him to do is slightly different than anything he's done in the past, like kind of how his teams expected him to play. He probably was looked at to score more, be a little more aggressive.
Score more.
And now we're kind of asking him, like, you have great guys around you that can score. And it's a really hard balance to figure out, okay, when am I aggressive? When do I just kind of, take a back seat and let these guys go off? And then when you mix that in with almost everyone on the team doing a lot of one-on-one things, like as a point guard, I empathize with him, because it's like, now if I come down, everyone else is going one-on-one. I can't go one-on-one because, my IQ is high enough to feel that. So let me try to get us in an offense, and then someone else goes one-on-one. So I think he's just kind of trying to figure that out. He's still a great player, and I think we're still time for that to figure out. But as fans, as just being Ohio State, we hate saying, "Oh, give him time, give him time." Like, we want results now. But I think he's got to find that balance of being aggressive, because down the stretch today, he got in the paint, made good decisions, made a couple floaters that were huge for us, which is what he can do. But he doesn't seem to come off many ball screens, and it seems like where he's starting to get more comfortable. So I think it's kind of maybe a little bit of coaching. Let's figure out how to get him in his spots to do well and go from there. But he's definitely got to pick it up. If we want to, play well into March and make a run, he's going to be a guy that has to play well for us. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen.
Well, you was talking about down the stretch today. We'll dive into this Rutgers game, which we all knew was going to be something they had circled on their calendar, from the first matchup. And I think you posted Adam, the guy in the front row with the sign talking about he was out of bounds. So I think this was, like you said, that energy that they had was something ready for us. But I mean, I liked how the team came out and played. I like how we were always in the game. Like, it literally was a Big Ten battle. Like, this reminded me of us versus Wisconsin. It's going to be a 50-point game. So literally them never quitting and them continue to fight and continue to find ways to be in the game is a plus. But now it's about finding the what to get the W. We got to find that factor because we can't let too many more of these, continue to slip.
I will say, Lighty, you right on key with the Wisconsin type thing. Wisconsin type game, because as you look at the game, we go up 14-5, and then all of a sudden the pressure just turned up from Rutgers. Mm-hmm. And one thing I noticed about Rutgers is they mix in a 1-3-1. They might go man-to-man trap. They might go diamond press. They mix up a lot of defenses on you to keep you on your toes, so you're always in press break. But one thing about Rutgers that really stood out is sometimes we start an offense at 20 on the clock, 17 on the clock. And so by the time we really got into our sets, everybody was in rush mode. Instead of really getting to where we needed to go and running our offense, I thought Rutgers took us out of our stuff a lot of times. They turned us over 13 times, but that's really not a lot in the college game, to be honest with you. You can live with that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can live with that, but they protect the rim tremendously against us. I think they out-rebounded us. Or no, we out-rebounded them, excuse me. I thought we played a great game. We had a chance to win, but we got to figure out, like you said, what it takes to win or take a game, especially in Big Ten on the road.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Like, I've been watching. It just kind of feels like we have no swagger going. Like when we play, like we're out there. We're just kind of like we're not going through. I thought they had good energy today. Like going into a place like that, I've never been, but sell out, places going wild. Obviously, they want to get back at us for the way we won the first time. So they came out with good energy. But I just feel like it seems like guys are just a little slow to react. They're like kind of second guessing a little bit. And there's just no confidence or swagger happening. And I think that, it's just costing us. We're missing shots that we normally make and things like that. So what do you guys think? Do you think they're playing confidently? Are they like second guessing themselves? What do you guys think?
I think they play confident in stretches. I do think there's something for the fact that I think they're now 2-7 in games decided by 11 points or fewer. And we're talking about a 4-game losing streak by a combined 16 points against, and in that stretch, you lost your starting center for basically 2 games. 2 of them were on the road, and one of them was against the number 1 team in the country. Like, you can say those are excuses, or you can say those are reasons, and I'll listen to either argument. But it does seem like they just need something to break their way, and then like the dam will burst. And I think they came so close to that when Bryce got the 3-pointer with about 3 seconds left today from the top of the circle. Like, they got the stop they needed, tie game. He's got a chance to win it, and it goes long. And if that shot goes in,
I like him.
And they didn't call timeout. They put the ball in the hands of their freshman, let him make a play, and
it was. I'm fine with that. Yeah, I was fine with that.
But I just think like you get one more play like that. I think at this point of the season. And you guys can speak to this. You've been through these battles. Like sometimes you just need to see it work, and then you believe that it will keep working. I don't know. It just seems like they're one play off.
Honestly, I think the reason why Bryce took that 3 is because he had memories of the last game, a big fella blocking a shot. So he decided to get away from big fella and get one up. Honestly, but Adam, to your point, I really think it's not an excuse. That without having Zed during those stretches, but at the same time, we kind of wasn't prepared for that because Zed's so important to us, and so it kind of threw our team in a loop. But if we really want to get this damn the bus, it got to be Justice. It
Okay.
just I put a lot of stuff on Justice because when he wants to get a bucket, he gets a bucket. He can get to the rim. He gets to his little sweet spot in the post ups. Like you got to put all your weight onto your upperclassmen going into a losing streak because they know how to compete. They've been there for long enough to know how to compete. What's the Big Ten like? And you kind of got to carry the freshmen, through this process. You say Bruce is kind of like going through a freshman wall, which I don't agree with because, like Kraft said, when you got so many people going one-on-one, being a point guard, you go one-on-one because now nobody touches the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a tough way to play. So I think Justice and Zed have to, and even Sean has to show these guys how to win. They've been here before. They've been in the NCAA for a long time, and they got to show them how to take a win, especially in Big Ten play.
It does seem like
you talking about showing them. Yeah, you talking about showing them. I think it was the last minute of the game. I think after 2 timeouts, we went right inside the Zed and got 2 great looks, but they just didn't fall for it. So I think, you miss one, then you miss the second one. That's the weight just getting heavier and heavier on your back. And that's what we're talking about. Like, we just got to find what it is, to get the job done. But we can't wait on it. We got to go take it. And I think that's the thing where we're in the limbo area of, who's going to be aggressive or who's going to make the play. But besides, the young buck, for sure, we're going to need other guys to get the job done.
Yeah, I think you can see that Zed is still maybe getting used to being that guy because he's always been a complimentary player, at least through the first 2 years. This year, obviously, he's a featured part of the offense, and we're seeing that feature kind of grow. To your point, Sully, about Justice, I feel like these last couple of games, teams are doing a better job, or maybe it's just they've had the personnel to cut him off and not let him get to that left hand and try to get downhill, get around the corner, and they're ripping the ball from him. He's had a couple too many turnovers, and I've talked to him about it. I talked to Chris Holtman about it after the game, but it seems like every game he has like 1 or 2 turnovers that you would not expect your 6th-year team captain to have. And I think, and that's, again, I'm not pinning a 4-game losing streak on one player, certainly, but I do think that's, he's had a couple too many of those, and his outside shot's not falling. And I don't know, I think it'll get back. But he's 4-13 from 3 in this stretch, and and they've been good looks. They've been open looks that you would expect him to make a few more.
That's a tough one. So we're gonna try to put this one behind us, man. It was a tough week. Coming in, we knew it was gonna be big games and games that we needed, but this week for sure, we definitely gonna have to turn it around. We got Nebraska, and we got a tough Iowa group coming up. Kraft, what you got going on for us this week? Hopefully we can try to get a win. So tell us the X's and O's of everything, Coach. What we got on this scouting report?
Yeah, I don't think you could hope for anything better than try to get a turnaround by going on the road 2 games in a row in the Big Ten. That's exactly when you expect to turn things around.
Easy,
right? Very easy places to go. I think one thing we didn't mention before, like playing at Rutgers isn't an easy game. So if we find a way to win the game at Purdue or win against Purdue, we don't come out flat against Minnesota, we lose the game at Maryland. If we lose at Rutgers, like it's not that big, but that's an okay loss,
it's
right?
Okay, yeah.
It's just we continue to put more and more pressure on ourselves the more times we let games that we should win and they slip out of our fingers. So I think both games this week are winnable. At Nebraska, it's never easy traveling, all these things, and they're probably second guessing a lot, but going to Nebraska, we can win that game. We can get that done. And then at Iowa, that's a up in the air game too, but winnable games. And I think that's what we need. there's not a ton of pressure on us anymore. I think I think a lot of people are starting to write us off. So let's just go out and attack as much as we can and see what happens instead of kind of playing on our heels and letting the game come to us. Let's take it to them and see what happens.
Yeah, and you're right about the try to find yourself and try to find some answers in a 2-game Big Ten road trip. Like that environment at Rutgers is, it's up there with anything that in the Big Ten, honestly. And like, I know you said you guys didn't get to play there, but they packed that place and they were ready to go. When I got to the arena, I always get there 2 hours or so before the game, and I'm walking in. There's people, mind you, it's like 11:45 on a Sunday. It's 30 degrees outside. It's miserable. It's brutally cold. The wind is everywhere, and there's people tailgating. They're ready. Like they were
tailgating,
literally tailgating.
Wow. Okay,
in the parking lot, making food, drinking, everything. They were ready for this game, and now you're gonna go. Like Nebraska is historically not a good team, and certainly not since it joined the Big Ten. But they sell that place out for every game. It's a great arena, and if they get going, it gets loud. And I think the fact that Ohio State, I felt like at least early in this one, handled that noise, handled that pressure, handled that crowd in a really, really strong manner. That gives me some confidence that this team has some stuff under its feet now that they feel like, all right, we got to go do this again. We got to go do this now at Nebraska. Nebraska's not as good as Rutgers. I think you can build off of this, even though you didn't win, because you played well and you played better. You had more stuff to you than you did in the 2 games prior.
I think the Nebraska game is going to be huge for us, just because we get to prove me wrong. I keep saying we keep playing down to our competition, and if we come out flat, then I'm kind of right, and I don't want to be right about that. But going on a losing streak, you should have juice to come out and get the ship sailing in the right direction. Honestly, this should be a game that we should win against Nebraska. But we said that against Minnesota as well, and you see how that turned out. So we just got to stay focused, man. I think this is a game where we get people going. I think we really should feature Justice. We should get Zed going, and I think Bruce should just take the ship and put everybody in their direction. Being a point guard ain't easy. I know that, being watching Kraft coming off the bench my freshman year, and Kraft is trying to tell John and Will and Dave what to do. And I'm just thinking, like, I couldn't be him. You know what I'm saying? Guys that's been there before.
I wasn't listening.
Sure wasn't. That's why we lost 3 times.
Yeah, right. But just putting people in their position, man. You gotta be comfortable being uncomfortable as a point guard at all times. So this is a game we gotta win. I feel like we say that all the time. We have to win.
It does feel like if
does
they don't,
Bryce stay out of the starting lineup?
I like him off the bench.
Oh, I
like him off the bench. I think until he gets better defensively,
he can be more
effective. The last couple games, teams are going at him at such a high level. And someone who doesn't, I watch a lot of basketball, not like you guys do. I don't understand the game on the level that you guys do. But even I can see teams going at him and putting him in positions where he's struggling. And I think giving him that opportunity of coming off the bench lets him see the game a little bit. It doesn't put that pressure on his shoulders right away. I thought he played pretty well in this game here at Rutgers. The last 2 games, he was not efficient, Bryce. He was 18 points on 18 shots. This game he had 20 on 11, and he had 11 rebounds. He had a double-double. I think there's something to be said for a guy like that. He's still playing starters minutes. He played 29 minutes.
29.
You're still getting him in the game. He's still a huge part of it, and he's still going to be the guy that might take the shot at the end. But I don't think he needs to be on the court for the first tip.
Yeah, that's a tough one. The only thing for me I could say about him was the rotation. I think it was Rutgers' last play. They got the corner 3, and then shooting the last shot. You got to make sure you don't give them any time. You shot it maybe 2.5 seconds early. I like the ball being in his hands. I like us not calling the timeout, but I know he's a freshman, but he got to understand the time and situation, because they definitely got a clean look off, which would have been heartbroken if they would have made that one for us to lose that way. But even though we still lost, so it's all righty, man. But we got the word on campus, I'm sure, is not too good right now. So we're gonna step into that segment and see. I'll just start off with myself. I'll say my word. I'm not on campus, but my word is we got to take this personal, man. You got to take it personal. Like, I can understand, a guy having, or one team having, a career night versus, but literally every game, someone's having a 25, 21, 28 point game versus. I know I had a Etwan Moore game. Those type of things happen. Craft, you had who?
Brandon Paul.
His name was Brandon. Brandon Paul. That was Brandon Paul, sir.
Exactly. I had Etwan Moore. That was 33
I was
on
there
us,
too,
whatever
that
it
game.
was. Crazy shot. Like that's going to happen, but we got to take this personal as a group together, literally, to not let this go down. So that would be my word that's going to the team right now, man. So hopefully they can change that around this week.
My word on campus, which is kind of weird because I'm nowhere near campus.
You're not on campus.
But I think my word is just we have to stay together. I think right now we're not together fully at times. When things go bad, we're kind of like splintering off, and somebody always wants to take that shot that brings us back together. And as long as we stay together, play as a team. We saw flashes of this at the beginning of the season where, we was a top 25 team and everybody was loving what we was doing. And then Adam brought up that stat in the last couple games that, Bryce and Justice is shooting 50, what did you say? 56% of the shots or whatever you said.
52% of the shots in the Maryland and the Minnesota games.
Yeah, like that. I think that right there just shows like where we're heading, and I don't think that's the right direction. Now, granted, you're going to need games where they do need to take bulks of the shots, but we have so much talent around us that we should have a different leading scorer each game. I think that's the recipe to success is just having multiple guys in double digits. Shots are fairly even around the board, and we have a high assist game, low turnover game. I think that's the key to our success because we have that type of talent around us.
Well, I'm actually close to campus, so I'm sorry. That was lame. You know what I'm hearing, and it's not great. Multiple people. It seems the people that I've been talking to, they kind of feel like the basketball program has settled for mediocrity. I've heard mediocre.
What?
I've heard mediocre said multiple times, multiple people, different age groups, and they just kind of feel like how the last couple games have gone is kind of indicative of how the program's been for a year or whatever, year or two, and they just kind of feel like they're not the worst part is they're less surprised than like they're not surprised that we're playing this way because they feel like our standard has dropped from what we believe Ohio State should be at, and that's what I'm hearing. I'm telling you, I heard it from an older guy, a couple of my friends that are around our age, and that's the word that I'm hearing, and it hurts, right? And it's like, and what can I say, right? Like what can I say to? How can I combat what they're saying? We have to. It's time to show ourselves, show everyone else. Like we don't need to play well because these random people are saying we're mediocre and that's okay. We need to play well because we want to prove that we are an elite basketball program, an elite with history, and our goals are bigger than finishing 7th in the Big Ten, making the tournament, and moving on to the next season.
I blame Greg Oden because since Greg has walked into campus, every freshman is supposed to be like Greg, like come in, make an impact, and be damn near perfect. So this is Greg Oden's fault. I love you, Greg, but Jesus.
Wow.
Hey, you set the bar high. You got to stay there. That's how it goes. Man.
So I wanted to go back something that you said a minute ago about like not splintering off and staying together. I asked Bryce about that after the game, and he told me, and you guys, I would be curious for your thoughts on this, because he said that between the Minnesota game and the Rutgers game that they had a players only meeting. And I feel like in the media, it's very easy for us to like seize upon, like when they say that, it's like, oh, they got a big meeting. They talk, that's going to change the season. And I think we probably oversell those kinds of things because it's easy to do. But one of the things that he told me, he said, I think we're right there. It sounds cliche, but we've just got to trust the process, continue playing for each other. That kind of stuff is going to get us rewarded. If we have each other's backs, even if we lose together. If we win together. That's the most important thing. He said, we made it our goal now to start now more than ever, playing for each other and having each other's backs encouraging. I think we did that well. It paid off this game. He said how like sometimes that stuff doesn't pay off the next day. Sometimes you can, you got to keep building on it. But I do think they're hearing some of those things. And I think he said everybody talked in that meeting. Everybody said something. Everybody talked. It's the next story I'm writing for the Dispatch was what he said about that. But like, I don't know. I actually, again, I kind of came away more encouraged about where this team is after this Rutgers game than I've felt in the last 10 days or so, partially based on how they played and partially based on them saying some of these things. But am I buying too much into the cliche as a writer when I think that out of this? What you guys tell me?
No, not at all. I don't think so because, I think he was upfront and honest that, we're going to start now to play for each other. Like, I guess that was as honest as he can be because why start now? Our season started in October when we had preseason practice. So why wait till January, 15th to start playing for each other now? And I think that was honest. I think that was a great answer by him. But also, these things take time. There's going to be a lot of guys that want to play, and so sometimes it's hard when you sit there and you play like a 6-minute game, or somebody else is playing 20-something minutes, and sometimes you can't. Yeah, your mental kind of floats in and out at times, and it's understandable because everybody wants to play. But as long as they stay together, and I think that team meeting was or players only meeting was great because you remove the coaches. Sometimes coaches always tell you what you need to hear. Sometimes it's better when it comes from a player one-on-one and saying it in front of the team. So now everybody's agenda, and now it's just one goal, one heartbeat.
Thank you, Nick Cannon.
For us, man. All right, signing off. We're going to get our last-minute thoughts out. For me, I'm just going to throw that prediction out there that, the ship is not sinking, but we're taking on water for sure right now. And I think we got to understand that, our head could go underwater because this next week could definitely be crucial. So I'm going to stay that. Our Buckeyes are going to be ready. We're going to take these next 2 games, and we're going to start steering this shit back the right way. But any final thoughts y'all got coming up with this week that we have?
Yeah, I want to briefly touch on what Adam said about, the players only meeting. And I remember being in school and like calling a couple of those. And I don't think the players are immune to like the writers. You think, all right, we set a players only meeting. Everything's going to go great after we set this meeting. And then it's going to be a great story. We're going to go to the championship and then they're going to hear about this. And, you have those thoughts. I think one of the most important things about a players only meeting is it requires action afterward. Like everyone can sit there because everyone knows exactly what needs to be said. They know what needs to happen. They know how to play the game. In the sense of like, yeah, we need to play for each other. Yes, we need to sacrifice here. Yes, we need to do that. But it's going to take multiple guys taking the next step and like actually putting that into action in a game or in practice. And obviously we're not there every day. I can't say what they're doing, but it's going to take some guys that physically do those things to make that meeting mean anything. Otherwise, we can continue down the same road. I'm with you, Dave. I think we're making strides. I love spurts of today. I think we go out. I think we win at Nebraska. I think we put it all together. We play well. The Iowa game, I'm curious about because we're going to play well. Nebraska will win. Are we going to kind of go back down, take our foot off the gas, or are we going to keep playing well? So that's what I got. I think Nebraska we get at Iowa. We'll see if we can keep it going.
Agree, Crafty. I think we win against Nebraska, and then it's up in the air with Iowa just because, Frank McCaffrey is one of the best scouters in the Big Ten. So he's going to be heavily scouting Bryce and Zed and Justice. And this is where I think the others, in the words of Shaq, the others need to show their worth and show why they're at Ohio State, because we have guys that can score the basketball. So we're going to need everybody in this stretch, just because scouting is really high. So we're going to need everybody to kind of play their best and to play hard. As long as we play hard, man, I think we'll be fine.
I want to see if they can get those assist
Iowa
numbers
also has
up.
that Murray kid.
Yeah, he's decent. He's decent. Yeah.
I mean, that's a position that we kind of struggle to guard, right? Like that guy that can score in a couple different ways, and he's averaging 20 a game. They're averaging 92 as a team. So sorry,
21 to be exact.
Take it personal.
I feel like that's going to fall on Justice. I feel like that's a matchup you need him to play like a vet. He needs to play like the senior, the go-to guy. They're kind of similar body types. I feel like I think that maybe falls on him, but I want to see this team distribute the ball better, share the ball better, move the ball better. The numbers have been down across the board, but I think the lack of assists is telling and troubling. I mean, I thought they played better today. I thought they moved the ball better. They still only had 7 assists on 23 made field goals, and Rutgers had 16 assists on 21 made field goals. Like, they were getting the ball to their guys in positions where they would be successful. And I think they need to do a better job of doing that, getting the ball, keeping a defense moving. Because this was a better defensive performance. This is the best defense, like statistically, performance that Ohio State put together in this losing streak. They dug in, they forced some stops, they were better defensively.
They did.
But he scored 64 points. And that's Rutgers is the number 2 defense in the country, so you're going to run into that. But when you stack a game where you had 5 assists on top of a game where you have 7 assists, it tells you you're still not moving the ball very well. And I want to see can you do that better against a Nebraska team that is not good. I mean, they're 47th in defense, so they're still decent, but yeah,
they're not good.
See if you can do it against them.
Well, I mean, it's gonna come down to what Kraft said. It's the action. We had all the talk, but hey, I'm all about this. Talk means nothing without action. So hopefully our Buckeyes will figure it all out. I got faith in them. I said they're gonna go for 2 for 2. I don't know what y'all talking about with all this iffy Iowa stuff. We're gonna put it together and we're gonna get these 2 wins. That's what's gonna happen. So we're gonna come back with those predictions for next week, man. I appreciate y'all coming to join in with us. Stay with us. We're going to stay with our Buckeyes. We're going to give them good vibes, peace of mind, everybody, tranquility. Release yourselves and be easy. Be free, man. Play the game that we've been loving for literally all our life. Like, just go do it. We'll holler at y'all next week, man.
Beyond the Big Ten is a network of podcasts that aims to be your go-to resource for all things Big Ten. We cover the entire conference with shows hosted by ex-players and athletic alumni, aiming to be your go-to source of information and entertainment for your favorite team. Hosted by ex-Big Ten players, media, and insiders, our podcasts are focused on giving diehard fans and those alums an inside scoop about the teams and people that make the Big Ten Conference one of the most watched and most talked about conferences in sports. We're excited to talk Big Ten basketball with you wherever you may be. Subscribe now.